behind bars.
Uh-oh.
Going behind bars with Major Antone Aguon of the Department of Corrections. So let's go ahead and bring up the Major. Good morning, Major.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us so nice and early. I know it's been it's been about a week since we talked to you. There's a story that Adriana did about the former Aguon lockup. Now, can you just kind of give us the info on that, Major?
Yeah, when the GPD moved out, the building was turned over to the Department of Corrections, and so we are currently renovating the building. And once the renovation is done, the parole division will be moving down there. We'll be moving out of Paseo and over to that area.
Oh, so they'll have their own office. Is that the only changes? Is parole moving over there? How many people are in parole?
We have about 6 officers, the chief, and I think 2 more officers will be hired shortly. But in addition, a portion of the building will be used for attorney conference rooms for the attorneys when they meet their clients. Also, we're working with the court. The court actually is spearheading a project to increase its video conferencing capability. So we're working with them, and we've identified several areas there where we're going to be putting video conferencing so that some of the defendants could possibly stay at the jail or there in Aguon while having their court hearing from the court side.
I wonder if they're going to be able to use some of the CARES Act funding for this. This is like telework. I mean, basically. Right?
That's in the CARES Act. DOC did receive, I think, about $15,000 from the CARES Act for video conferencing for court detainees.
So
and
that's
I know
where
the court received some, but I don't know how much.
Right. So what do you spend $15,000 on, Major?
Well, a lot of it actually is probably, I don't know if we're going to spend all of it, but a lot of it is probably just on the equipment and getting the infrastructure in place, internet lines, computers and things like that of the like, some TVs that they want to put in there so the defendants can clearly see what's going on in court. Some of it might be on soundproofing the rooms a little bit so that outside noises wouldn't be a big issue. Currently, we're renovating the buildings, but that's not coming out of CARE Acts. That's just coming out of our regular budget.
Right. And how does this affect the Major? If you can, how does this affect the long-term plan for revitalizing Aguon? Are we still revitalizing Aguon?
I don't know.
Or is that with FESPAC now?
Yeah, I don't know how this will affect long-term. I mean, I do know they still have a revitalization project for Aguon, and in that project, the Department of Corrections is no longer situated down there. But for now, I guess
they're stuck with you.
We're moving forward and just trying to make the best of the building, making the best use of it for now.
What kind of renovations? Are you doing major renovations to that building?
No, not too much. I mean, they're taking up all the tiles. Some of the walls there are, they're wooden walls. So they're just moving it around, redesigning it a little bit, changing doors, again, the tiles, painting, some electrical work, just minor repairs. Really, it's probably going to cost, like I told Adriana yesterday, probably about $3,000 to $5,000 worth of materials to get it all up, up and running again.
So it wouldn't.
All the labor is coming from inmates.
Right. So the renovations wouldn't handcuff you guys to be staying there permanently if in the event if we move forward with this revitalization plan, you wouldn't have to. Okay.
No, it's just simple renovations. We remove the carpet from some of the rooms, and again removing the tiles. They're going to paint the floor, clean it all up, paint the floor. They're adding a partition so some of the rooms can be divided and used better. So yeah, it's not too bad of a renovation. It'll probably take about 2 weeks.
I know you said right now they're at Paseo. Where at they're at Paseo?
They're located over right across from Jamaican Grill. Inside the main Paseo gate right there. There's the parole office inside.
That's a weird one. How did that work out? I mean, that's
we've been there.
DPR.
We've been there about 3 years.
I
think.
see. Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna move out of there, and eventually put them over there at the old Aguon precinct.
What are some of the advantages, Major, of moving that over to Aguon?
Well, at least for one, the building does not become vandalized as much. I mean, we'll have somebody in there maintaining the building, so the building just doesn't deteriorate. Having parole right there in the front of the building, could add extra security in that area as far as the parole staff being there. Plus, it brings them closer with our Aguon section and just kind of combines them all right there. Instead of away from over there at the Paseo side, the concern's always been the school buses and the schools during school season that you have,
right.
And you have parolees walking in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, to counter that, our officers have been out there monitoring it a lot, but we don't want to keep doing that as much. So.
Wow, good idea.
Yeah. So let's take them away from that area.
What type of offenders do we have going to check in with you guys? All kinds, Major?
Well, of course, on parole, sir, our count, I believe, right now is about 250 on parole, and so they range from burglary to, higher offenses.
Like CSC?
There's probably a few, yes, sir, that are on parole. They've done their sentence and they're on serving their parole time now.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Has the parole board granted anyone parole in the last 3 months?
During the COVID?
No, not during the COVID, sir. The parole board hasn't really had an opportunity to meet.
They didn't do any like sneaky undercover open government law suspended type meetings, Major?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
But I know the parole officers have been preparing the reports as normal, so that when it's time when the board is able to reconvene, they'll have the cases ready to present for those that are eligible.
Mm-hmm. Are we
under Guam law? We have to present them once they become eligible if the inmate chooses to request for parole.
Are we going to be seeing these parole board meetings done through, I guess, video conference?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because that's how we've done most of the parole hearings for the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. We have a computer up at casework in the Manila prison, and the inmate will go there and sit down in front of the computer and basically Zoom it in, or Skype, I think we were using, and they were having the hearing that way, and that way the victims or the supporters for the inmate would have an opportunity to speak without really the inmate around.
Well, where do you
So
find...
we've already been doing that. We've already actually been doing that
Yeah.
way before the COVID.
Where do you find that stuff, Major? Is that public record? Seems like it should be.
All the hearings itself, Chris, are recorded on the parole side, and so that still is public record, but you have to request, I believe, from the parole board
Yeah. Okay.
for those things.
Oh, so it's not
So the
uploaded.
parole board is a separate entity from DOC,
Right. Yeah.
basically.
They should put that up on they should do a Facebook page or something and put it up so people can watch it.
Well, I'll bring that up to them
Yeah.
and see what they can do. Maybe do the live stuff
Okay.
the way you guys do it.
Right, yeah. Major, what about the incoming? The incoming guys, this is where if you know somebody who's behind bars, inmate, detainee, members of family, or other stakeholders will drop off supplies, approved supplies to the prison. Have you guys figured all that out, Major?
Well, we just finished our first round. June 5th was the last day.
Right.
Again, we were doing it for about 2 weeks, May 25th to June 5th. And because we have 18 different housing units, and we had to divide it into groups so that we don't overwhelm the prison with things coming in. So it worked out well. Quite a few inmates, probably around over 300, half of them actually received some sort of items from their family. And so we're looking at that, and we're possibly going to continue it again end of the month and start the next cycle of that until we completely get out of this COVID. Maybe we'll go back to peak or 4.
Right.
But for now, we're going to continue that process. It worked well, and I think most of the inmates are satisfied with it.
Major, last week when we talked, you had said that there were discussions between the director and representatives from the Department of Public Health about testing the population there, the Department of Corrections. So where are we with that? Has there been any developments since the last time we spoke?
No, nothing new, Chris. But like again, from the beginning, the director's always been of the belief that we should go ahead and test all the prisoners, but it's not necessarily on our side. It's on the public health side.
Right. Yeah.
Now, from the beginning, when this thing started, they didn't have enough test kits, and they had to maximize the test kits. And so we just implemented our procedures to keep it out of the facility. And as of yesterday or as of today, as far as I know at this point, no inmate has tested any symptoms, and so there's no one has displayed any kind of symptoms of COVID-19.
So no inmate major has any flu-like symptoms or loss of...
Not as been reported as of now, and we talk to the medical staff every day, and nothing has been reported at this point. Okay. So hopefully our procedures are part of that. That's why it's we're minimizing the possibility of getting into our facility, but possibly the director still wants to try to do the testing.
Right.
But a lot of it would depend on the public health side, if the testing kits are available.
Do you guys feel like Major? You guys feel like you kind of might have dodged a bullet, and early on, you guys had the recruit test positive, and they tested all your officers, and that could have gone like way worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were very fortunate, Chris, and that the precautions we put in place from the minute the minute this stuff started going on may have played a factor on it. Not to mention our strict enforcement of the mask and the issuing of inmates masks. So we're we did dodge a bullet. I would say so far we did good, but as the mainland prison right now they're really having some issues back there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so are you guys kind of looking at that news, Major, and seeing where maybe they could have done better, and maybe applying that to what we're doing here, or maybe anticipating those types of situations?
Yes, I mean, we still have our isolation unit. Should we need it, we have a unit in there, Post 7, that's been identified as an isolation unit. In the event we do need it, we're still enforcing the mask, and we're still we have attorneys that are starting to come in now and visit. Not a lot, but a few of them are coming in. But we also have strict requirements when the attorneys are coming in. They're required to wear masks, also have their temperature taken. They're not allowed to have any handshake or anything like that with the defendant. They got to sit as best as we possibly can make them, sit a little try to make them at least 6 feet apart while they're discussing their issues. But we're still in that mode of trying to prevent it from coming in as best we can.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if Chris had asked, what about testing of officers?
Well, I know there is the public testing out there, but as far as our officers, no, nobody is, other than the group that were tested months back when this thing first started. I don't think anyone has been tested yet.
I remember something in the
like free testing out there.
Yeah, right. So
I don't know if any of them went on their own and got tested or not.
Well, I know that the National Guard, I thought that they were going to be testing like first responders, but according to the situation report, those numbers haven't moved in weeks, and there's only been 17, I think, that's ever been tested. And I just wanted to know if there was any update.
But all our officers, so we know they are advised if they don't feel well.
Yeah.
If they have anything at all, even a cough, don't come to work, and to get yourself checked if you need be, but to avoid coming to work if you don't feel well.
Mm-hmm. What about an update on contraband? I know last time we spoke, there was people were still throwing things over the fence.
Yeah, I can't recall we had anything last week. I don't think we had anything last week that was thrown over or found. But we've done a few shakedowns. We've stand back up our SORT team. So our SORT team has been reactivated. It was stand down, last year or a while back when we didn't have enough officers. But we have dedicated 10 officers now to the team. and so they do more shakedowns, more random inspections. They're also you see them walking around more on the compound doing high-risk escorts and things like that. So.
And that's special
operations response team.
Yeah, that's our special operations response team in the prison, and so they're more active now on patrolling the areas, and they actually officers there actually found the contraband.
Right. Was the SORT team reactivated because of the recent shakedowns that have yielded drugs and also drug testing for inmates who tested positive?
Yes, I mean the SORT team was always our plan to get that up and running again. The issue always has been, enough officers to do it, because you have to pull the officers off the platoon, and basically, they work a different shift than the platoon officers. But it's always been our intent to get them reactivated. And now that we have a little bit additional officers on post, the director felt it's now time to get them going again. We still have a few of normally I think we have 12 members altogether, but I think 2 of them are still on military leave.
Wow. What about updates on internal affairs investigations? We hadn't heard anything on any of those IAs that were being conducted pre-COVID regarding escapes. I think it was the halfway house.
We've done the escape IA case.
Which one is this one? This is the
with the warden.
What were they called? The erroneous releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, the erroneous release, ma'am. Those were in 2000 and I want to say 19, right? Those were 2019.
Right. But they were. I don't think there was a closure to all of them, because there was quite a few.
I mean, you guys don't have an internal affairs unit at the prison, right, Major?
No. We do have internal affairs officer. Yes,
you do now.
There was a period
right
where, due to the shortage of personnel, the IA team was just reassigned back to platoon. But no, we have had an IA team right before Brennan left the department. We had officer down there. We have 2 officers right now. In regards to the erroneous releases, again, those things were handled under the previous administration, the former director. The other escape in Aguon that took place, those cases are done, and adverse action was taken on the officers. Others got reprimand.
I'm sorry, for which one? For the escape in Aguon or for the erroneous releases?
The erroneous release, I can't really speak much on that one, because again, that was the last administration. I do know when the erroneous release happened, some of the officers involved received reprimand.
Right, but the erroneous releases, Joe was the deputy, wasn't he the deputy director? Or was Joey, because Joey Terlahi resigned. And then
you mean previous administration, like the previous director Samantha Brennan, and Joey, not previous administration like under Governor Eddie.
The erroneous releases happened, I believe, in 2019. So that was under Director Brennan's
correct. Yeah.
Right. And Joey Terlahi, and then Joey Terlahi resigned, and then we started having those oversight hearings, and then during those oversight hearings, it was still Brennan, and then it was Carbolito.
Yes.
So now Carbolito's the director. So where
during
are we with the erroneous releases?
Yeah, during the erroneous releases, that was, I believe, in April. And when Mr. Carbolito came on board, I think the first incident we had there was the escape from the halfway house.
Right.
Right. And so that one is already done. GPD did that case. Remember, at the time it was GPD.
Right.
And so disciplinary action was taken on a few of the officers. I can't recall all the specifics.
Right.
I do know that at the same time the warden was placed on admin leave.
Right. Yeah.
Pending the outcome of the case, and and then at the end of the investigation, again, GPD handled that investigation.
Right.
But at the end, the warden returned to work, and as far as the discipline, I can't. Again, I wasn't in that area at the time, so I can't recall what action, if any, taken.
Right. Yeah, well, thanks for that, Major. As always, we want to bring you on every week to update you. We got Dave from Department of Labor on the other line, and I know people want to hear that update. So thank you so much, Major.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Is there anything we forgot to ask about that you should tell us?
No, not that I can recall right now, but we can catch up next week again.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. Okay.
Thank you.
You sure? Not that you can recall right now, and then later on we're going to find out there's something big you didn't tell us?
I don't know. We're good for now. I don't know.
Wait, did you get any feedback from the AG? I know you said that the contract or the RP was with their office.
That's still under review.
Okay.
I talked to the attorney handling it last week, and it's still under review, and it's a lengthy process. So.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost there. Almost there.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
Major. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Wash your hands.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. That's the great thing about going behind bars with Major Antone Aguon. It's